All right. It is Monday, everyone. Monday. Nope. Shit. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. Okay. Whew. I can't be dropping that. Don't lose the peg that holds the needle into the handle. That could be problematic. I mean, it can't possibly go that far. I just didn't want to roll around under the desk trying to find it. Okay. So, hello. We are picking back up with our needle felting project, or series, shall I say, since I'm planning to do most of the 3rd season Joy of Painting tutorials. It's going to take us a little bit to get through them though, but since we've added a second art day, we'll probably be getting through them a little bit faster than previously. However, the main goal is to eventually get most of Season 3 Joy of Painting tutorials followed. I think there's 1 or 2 that we'll be skipping. Maybe. We'll see. I gotta think about it. The one I'm a little on the fence about, because of the coloring, and there's only so much we can do with the shades that we have. We might have to change the colors that that Bob is using. If we do, we do. But in the meantime, we are now working on the 3rd tutorial, the 3rd episode of Season 3's Joy of Painting stuff that he has done. And for those that would like to view the tutorial in its entirety, you can follow it there. That is the link to the Bob Ross YouTube channel, where you can find that particular... Easy there, Bob. Alright, can I get a look at that without you? Okay. So, that's probably as good of a view as we're gonna get there for now. There we go. I forgot I didn't have it on there. Why do I have 6 notifications? Hold on. Why do I have 6 notifications on YouTube? What's happening? Hold on. Okay, nothing I have to really be too concerned about, so I mean that's good. I did realize that I did forget to check one other thing, although as late in the day it is, it probably doesn't matter. So let me just take a quick peeky poo. Add something real quick here. Okay. Alright, that should be fine. Alright. So, yeah, so he's putting in the trees there. And that's what we started to work on yesterday, before I realized we should probably go. So, quick disclaimer, my hand, or my forearm is still messed up. Probably will be for a couple of weeks, unfortunately. So keep that in mind. That I'll be having to work around that issue, unfortunately. But we will work around it as best as we can. Now I did zoom us in a little bit more today, because I didn't realize just how zoomed out we were yesterday. So I'll probably still be working a little bit slower than my normal pace today, because like I said, I've done something to my forearm. I don't know if I pulled a ligament, I don't know if I angered a tendon. It might be that I angered a tendon, but heat didn't really seem to do all that much. So between the two, ice definitely was the winner in terms of how it felt while it was being applied. So I'm just trying to get some like wispy, shadowy things popped in here. So this is gonna look very abstract at the moment. Sorry, allergies are kicking off, everything's kicking off. But I did have a fabulous idea for a seasonal project that we can work on come November, if I get the funds to get the stuff in time. We'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking I'll have the funding by October, I hope, but we will see. Alright, so this one, it kind of comes up a little bit. Higher than, well, I mean, it doesn't come up as high as this one, but it's not super, super low to the ground either. And the thing that kills me is, with this one, a lot of this background is gonna get covered. Potentially, but we kind of need this here, because what comes down here is gonna, you know, layer on top of it, and some of it'll peek through. Just not real sure what will be yet. And as you can tell, this is not the usual stuff that I use on the stream, at least as of late. We've been using a little something else. Start to get this put in here. It'll probably get covered up with bits of our camel color in this bottom section, but all the same, still wanna get that started. Okay. So this is some of the wool roving. that so I'm just kind of trying to figure out where center line bush is gonna hang out here. This is the wool roving in the sample set that I got when I had gotten this stuff, and I figured, well, I don't quite have the right shade of brown that I really would prefer for what we're doing at the moment. So we'll just go ahead and we'll use this guy. Now I'm not making any real special shapes here. I'm just kind of separating out the fibers a little bit. And then kind of letting it do its thing once we get placed down here. What was that?
That was Peanut knocking something over.
Okay, sounded like somebody missed their jump. Sorry, one of the cats is being a cat and knocking stuff over as usual. So the wool stuff, the wool roving, this particular wool roving has a very different texture than the acrylic yarn, and probably some of the better roving out there. This roving feels very, I don't know, to me the texture of it feels like a cheaper thing, and you know, there's nothing wrong with going cheaper. It's just, it's not as smooth as some of the other roving that I've used, and there's nothing wrong with that, because I mean, once you get it all tapped in anyway, it's not like you're wearing it, but I'm just saying it's a noticeable difference in the feel of it. Alright, now he had already kind of started to do his downward plane here, but I'm just trying to merge this darker shadowy color along the base of our horizon line here. And then when I go and get the camel color that we're going to be putting in this background area, then I'll start really worrying about that. What did I do? Hang on, I don't know if I did the thing. Okay. I did do the thing. Okay. Wasn't sure. Sometimes I don't remember to tweet the thing that we are live. And I'm like, oh, nobody showed up today. And then I see that I didn't tweet the thing, and I'm like, oh, right. That could be why. Alrighty. So we're gonna have quite a few bushy shrubbery things back in here. Actually hoping I have enough of this color now. Now that I'm looking at it. I don't know. I don't know. So, I mean, this is supposed to be kind of like airy, shadowy splotches. So I'm not being real solidly with the fill-in around them. Because, I mean, there's going to be another color going over this, and we want them to still be a little bit tree-like, or shrub-like, or whatever. So it doesn't have to be a solid fill here. But I'm gonna try to cover in any excessive spaces in between just because that's what I want to do. I mean, if you don't want that many trees in the background, then don't. Again, up to you. Alright. But, do try to give the impression. I mean, this is a really abstract impression, but you know, you want to at least try to suggest that maybe it's a tree or a shrub. Maybe. I mean, it doesn't have to be dead on, yeah, that's a tree or shrub, but so if I get the funds in time, I have come up with a seasonal project for us to work on in a Christmas theme or holiday theme. Doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas, but I got the idea from a sale newsletter thingy from Lovecraft. They had a holiday project on there, I guess where you could either purchase or download the pattern. I'm not sure if it was a free pattern or not. I'll have to go back and look at the email. For a gingerbread knitted or crocheted something doorstop. And the more I was looking at it, the more I was like, you know, friends, we could probably needle felt that. We could probably needle felt a gingerbread house. And it probably wouldn't be all that difficult. Do you want me to get him? So, if I get the funds in time, that's what we're gonna do. We'll need some polyfill to fill the inside of the house just to keep it from collapsing in on itself. we will need some tan or cream colored felt. So probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 pieces of felt, just in case I mess something up. We'll need some embroidery floss. And I think I need like one more shade of brown wool, or yarn, because I really only have 2 shades of brown, which is kind of fascinating. But that's all I've picked up, but because I have all kinds of other reds, and I've got 2 different shades of red. Well, that's more of a berry than a red, though, but I could pass. I have multitudes of shades of green. I have cream, I have white. And then we have a whole bunch of, other colors that we could do stuff with. No, I got super excited thinking about it last night, trying to plan it out in my head, and I'm like, yes, we could do this. So, if I get the funding in time, we definitely will be. I have to figure out what kind of base I'm gonna put it on, or, if we do a base. Not sure yet. If we do a base, I gotta buy a base. I could just get like a little square of styrofoam to put it on there. That would be possible. Maybe I'll get like an extra ball of white yarn so that we can felt some snow or like some icy blue stuff. Oh, we could. Oh, yes, we can get some. Sorry, my brain is ahead of you guys, so my brain's ahead of my mouth. We can get some cookie cutters, and we can trace those on some felts as our shape, and then we can like make some needle felted gingerbread people outside, like, doing their thing. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I'm excited. So excited. I shouldn't be this excited, but I am. Alright, so that didn't get quite as wispy as I was hoping it was gonna, but that's okay. Huh?
And here's brother to partake in goodies.
Always.
That's good. You know where the freshest grass can be found for the puppy now?
Where?
In the planter box, up by the road.
Oh, Lord.
So Momo was standing up on his back legs. And
Careful, because that's where that spider was.
yeah, he wasn't near it.
Because I don't know where it is, if it's still there.
I didn't see the web, so. But he was standing up on his back legs and having a nosh. You dork. You dork. I hate you.
Oh, my puppy. He's obsessed with grass. He loves it. Alright. So yeah, no, super excited about that upcoming project because I had to get some, did I use it? I guess I did. I had to get some embroidery floss anyway. That was Num Nums attacking the window. Greatly displeased that Russell didn't stay outside longer. Oh, what is... Oh, it's 5 o'clock. I'm like, why is traffic suddenly, like, losing its mind outside? So that would be why. Does Num Nums have food?
Yes.
Because he was just letting me know of his displeasure that you didn't stay outside longer by attacking the window. And I really wish he wouldn't do that, because it makes it sound like someone's trying to break in. So I need to pick up a few different colors of embroidery floss. I'll have to make a shopping list. And then I should still have some funding left over to post some things on the Etsy shop, like our flamingo. Flamingo hasn't been posted yet, but maybe in like the next month or so. It should be posted, excuse me, in time for the Christmas shopping season. But I would like to hold on to some of the funding, if at all possible. Alright. No. Even trying to use this all wispy like it's still... We're still going through a good amount of it. I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's not great, but it's okay. So I think we have another shade that's similar to it. So if we run out of this, which is why I ended up buying the acrylic yarn once I realized that I could use it. I didn't want to buy the yarn until I was sure I was gonna like doing this, which is why I got the sample pack. And then I was like, oh yes, this stuff's fun. So now we've got the yarn and we can get more quantity for the price. Alright, so just remember that wherever you put your little tree bases or shrub bases, you're gonna have to fill that in. with your greenery. Because even though some aspects of this have a fall feel to them, it's not entirely a fall feel. It may be either early spring, well, maybe mid-spring, or like late summer feel to this one, where like colors are starting to turn a bit. Sorry, I'm just kind of checking my copy of the tutorial. I have it on a different screen. It's a little bit bigger for me. But like I said, if you guys want to see the tutorial on its own, feel free to follow the link. And that'll get you to his YouTube channel, where you can watch this one or any episode if you explore on there. I think he has all of the season tutorials up there. Alright, so he's got his base tree color in. Like I said, it's airy, it's wispy. There is a slight color variation to his dark because of how he loaded his brush and stuff that we won't necessarily have for this. Exactly. Sorry, the cat was doing things. Russell's got a game up in pause. I was trying to make sure that the cat didn't step on his keyboard. I don't know how much of a problem it's going to be if the cat does decide to step on it. Alright. Sorry, sometimes I tilt the paper like when I write. Just an old habit. Okay. Sorry, I can see like a little tiny fiber just sticking like straight up. I'm trying to figure out where it's attached to get him to cooperate a bit. Yeah, so, I mean, we've got this. going in now, right? So when we come back over it with our tree colors, it won't matter if we're not like filling in every spot, because we'll have a little bit of shadow back in there. I mean, we'll probably end up covering up most of it, but alright, those are just the funny snippy scissors that came with my toolkit. I found that with my arm being messed up right now, that those are easier on me to use than scissors, because like my thumb is the major problem. When I start doing a lot of thumb movement or opening and closing of my fist, that's when uncomfortable sensations really start kicking in. So if it doesn't sort itself in a couple of weeks, we'll probably have to do a doctor's visit, and I probably won't want to hear what they have to say. I just hope it doesn't devolve into something more. That one was refusing to be tamed, so I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. We'll just snip it. That's fine. So I've got 6 more colors of our yarn left to fluff. I was trying to teach my left hand how to do it last night. That didn't go so well. It ended with me stabbing my right hand with the brush under my fingernail with the little stabby arms, and I was like, yeah, no, I don't know if that's gonna be such a grand idea anyhow, but I found a way to fluff it using my dominant hand that I can tolerate. So did you check on that?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Did you stir it?
I didn't stir it. I just made sure it wasn't bubbling over.
Oh, can you stir it and break them apart, please?
Sorry, stir it and do what?
Break the bits apart, because sometimes they don't unattach each other. Sorry, I've got dinner on the stove, and I didn't drag my ass out of bed quite soon enough to get it started sooner, so. Quite the abstract forest guts that we've got going on here. Oh. All right. So we'll get this worked in here. Oh, are you okay?
Yep, just a bad hiccup.
Oh no. Not the hiccups. The dreaded hiccups. Alright. So, I mean, this can be a little bit under the blue or along the edge. Like, that part's fine. Like I said, I'm gonna come back in with some of this and the camel color and we'll start to put in our planes coming down like he has it in a little bit. I want to make sure that we've got this all sorted in here first, as I am making a huge disastrous uneven mess of this one section here. As I am trying to fix it. And not very successfully either. That's okay. Like this whole section will get filled in here. Anyhow, as we go, just gonna try to smooth that out a bit. Okay. So, straight bit of fuzz there. Might as well grab that. Alright, so start working here. Now this one, you know, probably should have been more on the edge, but that's fine. Not really that disastrous of a thing. So these projects do go a little bit slower. As I was saying the other day, but there's nothing wrong with that. Kind of like if you're working on a large like needle point project or cross stitch project or something of that nature. I mean, I've known some people to work on quilts for like years. Which does fascinate me, because I don't know if I would lose interest on working on something over that huge of a period of time. Oh, you know what? We could also get like a little cone of styrofoam, and we could make that a Christmas tree for our village. Yes. Sorry, I just had the idea hit me. Should I pick up fairy lights? Or would that be too much? Like we could put a string of tiny little LED lights around the tree. Huh. I'll have to see how much they are. Because I have an awl that came with the toolkit. Or I could just drape them around the tree itself, and just like maybe use the awl to dig out a hole in the base to run the wiring through. It's an interesting idea. Do those little mini fairy lights only come in white though? Or can you get them colored? That's my next question. I'm gonna have to be doing some research on Amazon, I think, later today. At some point. Alright, there it is. I had another little piece of fuzz. Alright, so we've got this guy here. We'll get worked in. Now remember, when we come back to put the foliage on these guys, we're gonna do it one tree at a time. So that way we don't really lose our tree shapes. Just making sure I'm not losing any of our fluff here, as I'm prone to do. Everything okay?
Yeah.
Alright. Momo's excited. My mom is making dinner. I don't know why he's excited, because I don't think she's making anything he can have. But we will see. I might try to make those sandwich rolls tonight. I don't know. I have to work on the shaman tonight for Thursday. I haven't even touched them yet. I keep forgetting that Tuesday has downtime on it, so I won't have the full day of Tuesday. Like, I won't be able to jump in the second I get up. Sometimes WoW's up by then, but sometimes it's not. And I think they're supposed to be maybe fixing a bug in the auction house. Maybe. One can hope. I know I had stuff stuck in limbo somewhere that I had put up on auction, and some of the stuff sold almost immediately. And I was like, oh, cool. And then the stuff that I've been trying to get rid of that nobody will buy still didn't sell. And it never came back, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I didn't put this up for 48 hours. I tend not to, with how prices fluctuate and how people tend to undercut each other. So I'm a little confused. And then I thought, well, maybe something weird happened, and I did put it up for 48 hours, and then 48 hours came and gone, came and went. And I still didn't get my stuff back. And I was like, And I was thinking last night I was gonna need to schlep my working man's ass back to Stormwind and actually open up Auction House and see if I could even see it still sitting there. So I knew how to word the ticket. And as I was logging in to do so, I noticed, oh, hey, it's in my mailbox. But Russell had also seen a message that said something about Auction House was taken back offline for a little bit, so maybe when they took it offline it forced the in limbo stuff back to its owners, to its sellers. Which is the only thing I can really think of as to how it got returned. They're struggling with that new auction house system. Apparently something's not cooperating somewhere. Beginning to wonder if they didn't get enough testing into it. I mean, but you can test till you're blue in the face, and then something live, somebody will do something live there'll be some sort of parameter that didn't get tested that suddenly is like, oh, fuck me. You know. Sort of scenario. Alrighty. So we're doing pretty good here with getting our tree shadows worked in. Again, this is just me trying to reflatten out the felt base and just try to keep everything nice and happy. And you can kind of see like tree shapes coming to life on the back side of this. Kind of. We might end up using all of this shade, or at least pretty close to it. So this one needs a little bit more help here, I think. Maybe a little bit more height. I mean, this is our tallest guy right now. So yeah, maybe we can get a little bit more height on this one. Kind of has a reddish feel to it, this particular shade. Which I do find fascinating. I mean, it's kind of working. We'll see if it really does work for us once we start putting the foliage in. And it might not even matter. Like, we might inadvertently, accidentally end up covering up most of this that we are putting in right now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what ends up happening. This tree, though, it's kind of taking on a mind of his own here. It's kind of like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. Well, that kind of brings him a little bit more under control there. At least gets him back looking into a sort of tree-like or shrub-like shape. Alright, that's a little bit better for us to work with there. We got a very fluffy back going here. Like I said, this boy's gonna be a little bit thick, I think, by the time we're done. I have a little bucket on the side of my work area here that I'm putting my little stuff in. We had picked it up from the Dollar Tree. I think it was supposed to be a pencil holder, but it's fine. It works for this. Yeah, it says pencil holder on the bottom of it, but hey, you know what? It's serving a purpose. And that's all that matters. Okay. No. Do a lower to the ground shrubby guy in here. We get our tree skeletons in. It's not really the tree skeletons, tree shadows. I mean, if we were doing more detailed tree, maybe. And we totally can. But this particular section I just want the suggestion of our shadow. This is those pen marks when we were trying to figure out the size that this one was going to be. Okay. I mean, you get a decent amount in the sample set, but the sample set, I think they figured you'd be, like, it was more geared to making like the little figurines and stuff. So they like didn't give you a tremendous amount of any one color specifically. And I'm pretty sure that some of those colors are doubled, because some of those shades looked almost identical. If there's a difference, then I might need an alt light to see it. But, those alt lights can be a little expensive. Well, I should add that to my dream art supply list so I don't forget about them. I have a list on my one Amazon account where I'm putting stuff that I'd eventually, if I ever get the opportunity, would like to try. And that is one of them. Like, we sold them at the craft store, and a lot of the embroidery and knitting and needlepoint crew really liked them. Like, we didn't sell a ton of them because they were expensive, but very few ever came back with a problem. I think the replacement bulbs may be a little expensive too, so I'd have to figure out pricing. I'll price around. I'll see if they have a website directly. Could be cheaper to just get it direct. Sometimes that's the case. All right. Eventually, I might have to replace this mat if I guess it gets a little too wonky, but I mean, it can be a little lumpy, it's fine. I mean, there's certainly a lot of fiber that we've added to this bad boy in the past almost year. That we've been using him. I mean, it's held up pretty good compared to some of the complaints I was seeing, but maybe they were just being extra fussy. I don't know. Like, I kind of experienced a little bit of what they were talking about when I first started using it, but I didn't think much of it. I was just like, oh, this is just how this one is, and like, okay, I didn't realize what I was experiencing was like whatever is used to help make this, I guess they said plant fiber or something. The needle was ripping out and pulling it up into my piece when I first started using it, but I haven't had that problem in some time, and I never broke a needle on it. I mean, there's one or two spots on this mat that's a little extra resistant to the needle going into it and a little extra crunchy, but I never broke a needle on it, and it wasn't that huge of a deal for me. I was just like, okay, it's still better on my ears than the foam, which is all I really care about. Alright, so we're not making too bad of time today. About an hour in here. And for those that are new, the clacking in the background is going to be the husband's keyboard. So, just so you're aware, that's going to happen. Between that and the loud traffic noises, and some of the animals just, you know, being animals. We have a menagerie of sounds. Ooh, that's another idea. I need to stop with these ideas now, because now I'm all in like Christmas project mode, and I'll never get them all done before Christmas. I need to stop. Oh my goodness. Just had an idea of building a fireplace, like a 3D fireplace, out of needle felted pieces. And, you know, needle felted the little stockings hanging down off of the mantle, and I need to stop. We're just gonna have a whole Christmas collection here pretty soon. I should probably write this shit down so I don't forget. Okay, actually, let me... probably finish off this edge here. Or this little segment. Not really the edge. Kind of the edge. Was that pot boiling at all?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if I had to get turned up. Since I'm not cooking it in the other one. Alright. So this one we're probably gonna make a little bit taller. So we're starting to get near our guy on the end here. We can make him a little more robust. Can't forget, I have to do tweets tonight. I have to do promo tweets tonight. Cannot forget. Probably should have did them last night when I was sitting here trying to find something that I could do that wasn't going to anger my arm. Alrighty. Just kind of starting to get this guy put together. Alright. So I'm just kind of trimming him down a little bit so he's not quite so long to deal with. Or in the hopes that he's not quite so long to deal with. We'll see how that ends up going. I'm gonna pop this up here just briefly. Reflatten this guy out just a bit. All right. So let's see about grabbing another little bit here. And working on filling this guy in. Okay. So we'll get this guy filled out. I mean, he's obviously going to need a bit more to him. Here, so we can't just let him be in the state that he's in at the moment. I need to fill him out a bit more here. He's kind of our bigger counterpoint to this guy. So I'm going to take him up a little bit higher. Now again, all of this dark shading could be for nothing. I could end up covering it all up, but I'm going to try not to. We'll see what happens. I mean, this really isn't branches or anything, it's just more of shadowing that he's adding in. I don't know what that is, but let's get that out of there. Alright. I want it wispy, but I also don't want it quite that wispy. Again, the needle is not actually in the base yet. I'm just kind of scraping the top edge of the brown fibers. Just to spread them out a little bit. And I mean, now obviously the needle's going into the base felt here, and we're attaching it. But if you try to go in and scrape, you're going to end up snapping your needle, so don't do that. That's not going to be a fun time. I mean, if you're lucky, all you'll do is bend it, but alright, so we'll kind of take him straight up there. Now normally I would just keep going and put our base coloring in first as we moved down, but he did this step before doing that, so I don't want to confuse anybody by jumping around too hard, so that's why we're kind of sort of doing it this way. Another bit of fluff here. Just kind of fill this in just a little bit. It's a little too airy in there for me. Just a little bit. So hope everybody's week started off well. Since it is a Monday. You know, we all usually get the Monday blahs, or whatever day starts your week. Technically, I guess this would be my Friday. Since we won't have a stream again until Thursday. Alright, Thursday stream I'm gonna try to bring out the working man again. If we have time. I was working on her last night for a little bit. It felt a little too late to start getting involved on the shaman last night, and my hand was kind of getting pissy, so I was like, well, alright, that's fine. Since by the time I had the chance to sit down and finish doing the other stuff I had to do, my internet can get a little weird the later at night it gets. So I figured, well, if I'm just picking flowers or whatever, I probably shouldn't get myself into too much trouble. And I'm not that attached to her, so if something happens, but... Tonight we shall be working on the shaman, so if you see me out and about later, that's what I'm doing. Please don't kill any of my mobs to help me, because you're not actually helping me. Alright. So we've got just a couple more tree shadows to tap in here. And then we'll start moving downward a little bit. So make sure all these little guys are attached in there for our wispy tree forest thing here. Sometimes I have trouble cutting with those snippy things. I don't know why, but I do. It's very strange. Alright, so again, we kind of want this a little bit airy. Just a little bit. I mean, we definitely have a lot of foliage to come back and put on all these guys, but, you know, we'll get there. And we'll deal with trying to turn these into somewhat respectable trees. Or at least the idea of a tree. After we get the next bit of ground in, because he kind of puts these in and then keeps on going with that color on his brush and starts to and just starts to go down the whole page. Now he doesn't go all the way down, which I do find interesting. He goes to a certain point and then kind of stops, but then goes back in and adds it back in later. I don't know, this one's a little bit... He's a little all over the place on this one for me. But, oh, I thought I had another piece. Dang it. Alright, so we kind of have our tree shadow line put in. So now he's gonna kind of bring stuff down to a point. So he kind of leaves like this much. If I can get my pen working here. Kind of leaves like kind of like this. Kinda. I mean, it's not exact, but that's what it kinda looks like. And he starts bringing this stuff in at sort of angles, so he kind of meets them about here-ish. What was that? Was that outside child, or?
I'm not sure. That kind of sounded like Miser.
Where is she? She always has this like weird ass meow. So it kind of works down into a bit of an angle here. It's not like real steep though. But it is there. And again, I'm going to be coming back over this with little wisps of that.
Pretty sure it has to be my mic because Mom's is on your mom's lap.
Okay. For a second I thought Num Noms had gotten hit by a car. It sounded like such a desperate meow. But also could have been car brakes at the same time. It was very strange. Very, very strange meow. Alright, so just gonna kinda keep trying to work this in at its angle here. This is where things are gonna start to get a little bit tricky. And I'm okay with this being wispy. Like, that's more than fine. But we'll try to do what Bob's doing with angles and stuff. And we'll see how it goes. Now it's definitely going to look like a hot mess in this stage. Because, I mean, honestly, his definitely has that hot mess look to it at the moment. It's just like, what are you doing? It looks like you just kind of smeared chocolate syrup everywhere. If we're gonna be perfectly honest. Alright. So this side feels like I definitely have the sides uneven as far as angling goes, but I don't think that's all that disastrous. Like, not really. Alright, so get that kind of worked in there. Alright. Okay, now I'm going to do something I don't normally do, and I'm going to run an ad break real quick, so bear with me if I can find it. Yeah, so give me 1 minute. I have to go and check on something, so I'm going to run the ad break. This is a good time to stretch and go potty, and all of that. I will be right back. All right. Sorry about that, you guys. I had to go and check on my food and add some more stuff to it. So, hope you didn't mind that ad rolling. Okay, so let's go ahead and get more of our... I should have grabbed that camel color while I was up, actually. I didn't, because I forgot. Because of course I forgot, but that's okay. So let's start to get just our base shadowy stuff worked in here. Again, this is not going to be perfect. This is just to get some color down in here. I mean, I want it to be attached and all, but doesn't have to be all that. Filled in or anything. Because like I said, we're gonna have that other color come back in. I do want it semi-attached though. Seems like there was quite a few loose strands in here. It's okay. It's probably gonna end up being mostly that camel color when we get everything all sorted out here. So I'm gonna have a little bit of overlapping happening on in here. And that's more than fine. That will probably help with things a bit. As we work on getting those angles put in here. Did she make dinner?
Yeah.
What did they have?
They just had sandwiches and your dad had the soup. That's what she made me go to Hearts for.
Oh, okay. Alright. So, like I said, I didn't really want this to be that steeply angled. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit. It's just kind of the nature of it. And I'm just realizing we've got quite a section here that I've been tapping in. And I'm gonna have to peel this up in a minute. So this should be interesting. And probably give you an idea of why okay, that came off pretty easy, probably because it was so thin. If you really get a thick area done without peeling up periodically, it might kind of not permanently attach itself, but it's definitely going to be on there. Alright, so again, I am doing this really airy and spaced out and not solidly filled in on purpose, just so I can kind of get some of this base coloration in. Along with getting angles figured out. And such. Although doing it this way does make it a little bit harder to make sure that all of the little tiny thin pieces are actually good and attached, but I mean, that doesn't matter quite as much. I mean, you want it at least tacked down, but that other color that we're gonna come back in and add should fix any of that. I'm really not sure how much of this color is going to be visible once we get the other shade worked in. So, I mean, this I'm just kind of adding in because Bob did it. I know when we get down towards the end of this middle section being more finished, probably even the brown that we're going to add is not going to be that visible, like the next lighter shade of brown. But we're following along. And who knows, I mean, some of it might be a little bit visible, so we'll just kind of take it as it comes. Right, grab this extra fuzz here. Put that in my little fuzz collection container so it doesn't contaminate any of the other colors. Alright, so we're still working on getting our angles put in here, so we know what we're gonna follow. I don't really have to be on the edge of the pad there, or the mat. Alright. So, I mean, we'll definitely come back and clean up those edges as we go. So I hope everybody's having a good evening. or morning, depending on where you're at. Alright, let's see here. Like, I don't want this too... I don't want it too tight of a weave, so... Alright, I'm probably gonna have to start lessening the angle here just a bit. Start making it a little less steep, I guess we'll go with. It's not really that severe of an angle, but so say about here. We definitely want to be a little more subtle. Doesn't have to be dramatically, but just a little bit. Okay. Well, I can't forget, I'm gonna have to add sewing needles or embroidery needles to that list of supplies that we're gonna need. Yes, we will need those for our winter project, or seasonal project. Alright, so just gonna re-smooth out the back here. I mean, you can see where it was, see how our edge is all kind of wonky. That's from us, how we're doing this, so. I mean, it's not a huge deal. We will be able to come back and clean that up. Alright, we're just working on getting our angles in place so we know how we're going to follow it with the other color. I just really don't have enough of this color to just use this color. If I thought I did, then probably just would, but because I'm not 100% certain that that other shade that looked close to this was actually the same shade. Might have been slightly off. Alright, So now, again, I'm just doing thin little sections here, just to work on getting this guy some color down. Some more of our shadowy colors start to be filtered in here. So like I said, every piece is gonna have a "what the fuck are you doing" kind of stage to it. Just gotta kind of work through it. And keep reminding yourself that this is the "what the fuck" stage, so you don't end up discouraging yourself. Because it'll work out in the end, one way or another. And we're not going for exact replica, because I just don't know if an exact replica is really feasible with this. But if we can at least get close and get the idea across, then, you know, I'll be reasonably happy with that. Alright. So we'll get that tapped in. So again, if you want to follow along. Oh, hello. Oh, thank you for the host. Oh, thank you for the raid. My sounds didn't go off. Why didn't they go off? Huh. Did Stream Elements log out?
Maybe. That's all I can think of.
My sounds didn't happen. Why? Can you load that in and see if it tells you anything? But thank you. Grunge?
I won't be able to log that in until you're done with your stream.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's weird. I'll have to look into that. There was supposed to be flamingo noises that played. That's why I didn't realize you had raided. I'm sorry. Well, thank you for the raid. Hello, friends. I'm Nisey. We stream a few days a week. We do World of Warcraft on Thursday right now. Friday we do Planet Zoo. And then Sunday and Monday we do art. And right now we're needle felting. We're painting with wool. I'm not doing needle felting critters, though I have done them in the past. Not on stream though, but I did a little needle felted flamingo. His name is Marvin. We're painting with wool. We're needle felting arty scenes, painted scenes, but we're using wool and yarn, depending on what color I need and what I have, as our paint medium to do stuff. And right now we're working on a series where we're following the Bob Ross Joy of Painting tutorials, with, you know, fiber instead of actual paint. We have followed along with a few of his seasons with paint before, so I was like, well, let's do something different. And I've not seen anybody try to follow along with his stuff with needle felting. I mean, it might be out there, but I just haven't seen it. So I was like, hey, let's give this a try, because it doesn't quite blend like paint does. So we have a few more challenges to face, and it makes things a little more interesting. Do I by any chance like crocheting? I like watching people crochet. I think it's amazing what they can come up with. I only know the one chain stitch for crochet, unfortunately. My grandmother only taught me that one chain stitch and never really expanded from there. She taught me how to knit. I can do the basic knit stitch, and I can do a purl stitch with knitting. But that's about all I know, so I can make you squares or a scarf. But that's as far as I can go with it. So, I mean, my skills in that area are very limited, but I do love watching people do it. My grandfather loved to do needlepoint. He would buy all kinds of kits, and he'd have all of his colors all separated out in these cardboard little separators that he made, and he would just he got really into it. I would love to learn how to do embroidery. I've seen so many cool things that people have done with all the different stitches and everything, and I think that's really cool. But yeah, there was supposed to be flamingo noises that happened. I'm gonna have to look into that, because I wanted the sound signals to happen, because sometimes my head's down and I don't always see the raids happen in the chat or the follows or anything. Like, there's supposed to be all kinds of flamingo noises and animations and shit that happens. I'm gonna have to see if I got logged out of Stream Elements or something, or what nonsense is afoot there. I think sometimes it just stops working for some reason. Well, that's the first time I think I've had it stop working, so we'll have to look into that. You know what? Stream Elements isn't in the chat. So, oh no, now they are. They weren't before. I don't know. It's being fussy. Maybe it's Twitch, I don't know. But, you're learning to do crochet. You can do the one chain because that's easy and you find it calming, and you've just made a 3-meter chain. Yeah, like when my grandmother was teaching me how to do the basic chain crochet stitch, she's like, just keep going, and when you get to the end of this ball of yarn, then we'll take some thread or something, or some yarn, and she goes, and we'll sew it all together in like a blanket or something, like in a round circle or some shit. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then I ended up with like a plastic shopping bag full of this chain, and then I think it got tangled up, and then we couldn't do anything with it, and then she never taught me anything more with it. So I'm like, okay. I'm terrible with my yarn tension though, with the crochet and the knitting. I'm so terrible with it. Like, my poor husband, I made him a scarf one Christmas.
Hey, that came out fine.
There were spots where I could tell that
there was like one spot that you missed a stitch. It wasn't that bad.
No. Like, some of it was a little bit looser than others, and it was tighter in other spots. But like, it was just one of those things that I could see it, and it was like annoying me. But that's why I like to use I don't know if there's still, it's not as popular as it was, but for a while the fun fur was like all of the rage. So it was like stringy fluff, not fluff like this, but it had like little dangly bits, and that like came off of a center piece that was sort of the same color. And I liked using that because when I incorporated it in with the actual yarn that I was knitting with, it kind of covered any fuck ups on my end where my yarn tension wasn't quite as consistent as it should have been. I mean, there was the challenge of knitting with 2 strands of yarn at the same time, but that wasn't too bad because the fun fur was really thin. But yeah, so I mean, stuff happens, but and I've been brainstorming for some Christmas holiday projects. I had ordered some yarn. I like to do this with yarn more than the roving, than the wool roving. The roving's kind of expensive for me for the amount of colors that I need. So you're gonna go. It's almost 2 a.m. Oh goodness, yes, go to bed. Go to bed. It's okay. Trust me, I understand the raid and run. Sometimes you gotta sleep, sometimes you gotta eat, sometimes you gotta pee. So yeah, no, totally understandable. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for bringing your friends along. I appreciate that. Hope everybody has a good night. Get some sleep. Totally understand that. No problem. Thank you. But I tend to use yarn instead of the roving. The roving's expensive for me. Budget's just not there to do this all in roving. This is roving from a sample kit of colors I got, but it wouldn't. I'd have to keep buying this for just specific colors because it's just random colors they give you. So that's not really feasible in the long term if I'm wanting specific colors. But I like the yarn aspect. Now the yarn does involve a little bit of prep. I use acrylic yarn, and I've got a video that I'm going to be posting on the YouTube channel soon-ish, whenever I get around to actually editing it. I did record it though, to how I do the yarn prep, but it does require a little bit of prep, where you cut some lengths of it, and then you take a pet grooming brush called a sticker brush, and then you kind of brush out the yarn that's been twined, and so it's fluffy. It's back to its pre-yarn state, and I use that a lot, and I like that. The texture's a little bit softer, not quite as this particular roving is like not the best quality roving because it came in a sample kit of a large number of colors, but so I'm sure some of the better quality roving is softer, but I just find that I can get more volume for my dollar going the yarn route, even if it does involve a little bit more prep. So with the needle felting, I've got a square of felt, you know, whatever felt size you want it to be. This is supposed to be 8 by 10. My base was supposed to be like 9 by 12. It didn't work out that way. It's not even like 8.5 by 11. It's under that too, so I think the sizing was a little bit off from the manufacturer. But like the edge, like the width, the length or whatever, the across here is like 10. It's close to 8 by 10. But so I'm just kind of using that, and then I've got the special needle felting needles. They've got little notches cut into them, so that when you push it through your fiber and into your base here, it grabs the fiber and kind of, I don't know if weave is the right word, it smashes them all together and kind of makes them one thing. And yeah, so, and what you see is, you know, the back side is where the fibers come through the base and stuff. The back looks a lot different than the front. I suppose that's a good thing. But yeah, no, we've done a few of these so far. Like I said, we're on episode 3 of season 3 of The Joy of Painting that we're following. The full tutorial for that is here. Let me see if I can. Alright, so that goes to the Bob Ross channel. I do wear finger protectors. I kind of wish I had a whole hand of them. But definitely make sure you have the protection gear on. These needles are very sharp. I have stabbed myself a couple of times. I haven't gone all the way through my finger, but it is possible. So it is sharp. I wouldn't recommend small children be allowed to do this. Maybe if you have a mature 10 or 12-year-old, but even then, supervision. Because these are not toys. You have to be very, very careful. I mean, I'd probably maybe lean towards maybe mid-teen to be a little bit more comfortable. But I mean, you would know your own child and how much they would respect the seriousness of what they're using. So I mean glue guns are probably just as dangerous, but in a different way, where you have to be careful that you don't burn yourself with those. I've burnt myself a couple times on the glue guns too, but these ones, this might require an emergency room visit if you get it in your finger because of those notches in there. I don't know how well that would remove without assistance, and could require stitches, so just be careful. Respect the supplies and the tools. So I'm sure if you get down to it, there's a lot of tools out there that could be pretty dangerous when you get down to it, depending on the age group that's using it. We do have a few of our previous needle felted projects available in the Etsy shop right now, although I'm only shipping in the US at the moment because of like tariff stuff, and I couldn't be, I didn't want to fuck something up, so I'm just like, okay. I don't understand all this tariff stuff, so I think we'll just ship inside the US at the moment. Of course, if you understand the tariff stuff and you would like something, we can probably work out a deal privately through PayPal or something. I'm more than fine with that, as long as I understand what you're explaining to me. I do require people pay for shipping right now because, like I said, I'm broke, so I don't really have the money to do free shipping at the moment. I'm not exactly open for commissions, but if there's something you would like me to try to do for you, I can attempt it. But I would need like all sorts of reference photos and stuff. We do paint a little bit as well. We just wrapped up a painting actually on the channel. We had taken a break from needle felting for a little bit and worked on a faux stained glass painting of a flamingo. The image of that is either on the Ko-fi or the Instagram. Ko-fi has more of my stuff than Instagram because I just, not that long ago, started doing Instagram. But I don't do, like, hordes of selfies or anything on there. I don't really like taking pictures of myself all that much. So it's more just a gallery of sorts, and that's that type of thing. I'm also, for those that are new, involved in a podcast some of the times. Occasionally we'll help co-host with it. It's going to be the Wild Challenges podcast for any World of Warcraft people out there. They are the current caretakers of the Iron Man challenge and its various offshoots. And I'm one of their mods and help with stuff on their website and articles and things, and making sure stuff gets scheduled and all that stuff. And occasionally I co-host on the podcast that they run, and that happens on Saturday evenings, which is why I don't have a stream on Saturday. I know it seems weird that there's that break. So stream schedule is Thursday, Friday right now, and then Sunday, Monday. I would do something on Saturdays if I wasn't involved with the podcast stuff. If the podcast ends up ending, or I'm not needed to help out with that anymore, then we'll end up doing something on Saturdays too. But right now, I have to leave Saturday open because by the time I wake up and get going with that stuff, doesn't leave me a whole lot of time to squeeze a stream in. And then I'm busy when the show finishes doing post-production stuff to help out the lady that runs it. So just don't quite have time to really guarantee a Saturday stream happening. So during winter break, or if there's going to be a break of a couple weeks that I know in advance where I don't have to worry too much about doing stuff for her, then we'll do a couple of streams. Like, I think during winter break, the show usually takes a month off. I do have other duties that I do for her that aren't completely tied to the show, but usually winter break is when I can squeeze in an extra bonus stream on Saturdays. I think she takes most of the month of December off. Although we'll see what happens this year, because I don't know, it depends on when the new expansion comes out. I might be a little bit busier helping field questions and things over there. But I don't know. I'd like to add Saturday back in. If I got up earlier in the day, then I could probably. But we've tried that. We've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, didn't work. I think it worked for a couple of weeks, and then that kind of went out the window. Because I tend to have a bit of insomnia, or my schedule's just fucked. So I worked too many years doing overnight at various jobs, so even when I try to sleep, I mean, there was a brief period of time where I couldn't stay awake overnight anymore. I just couldn't do it. But somehow something happened and my brain flipped, and now I'm back into being awake half the night. So, you know, that happens. But it kind of makes it hard to stream in the morning or afternoon if I'm asleep. But maybe someday will get me back into a semblance of a normal schedule. I think I know part of the reason why, but you know, don't know if I'll ever get back into that. We can try, but don't know if it'll take. So again, we're just kind of getting our angles put in like Bob has in his painting down there in the corner. I know it's tiny, that's why I posted the link to the tutorial, excuse me, for those that want to watch it in full. And I can show you an example of the stuff that we've done already in just a moment here. Let me flip this over. There we go. Get that little tail tucked in there. But yeah, so I'm plotting and trying to get a supply list together for a potential seasonal project that I want to start. I guess I'd have to start it in November. So I think it's going to take us a little bit to get it worked on. I'm thinking of attempting to do a gingerbread house, but in needle felting. So, I mean, we'd have to needle felt the pieces together and needle felt the decorations on it. And then I'll probably take like embroidery thread and sew the house walls and stuff together. And I'm thinking I might attach it to a styrofoam base. And then we can do like a little scene around it too. Maybe add a styrofoam cone Christmas tree after we needle felt some fiber onto that. And maybe see about getting some little fairy lights to wrap around the tree, and maybe carving in a hole in the base of the styrofoam base to put the wiring through. Alright, so let me grab these things here. Okay, so this one, slide you to the side there. So this is one of the ones that we've done so far. This one was not done on stream though. This one I just did on my own. This one was mostly with the roving, the wool roving. This one was one of the ones that we followed on stream. I think this was the first episode of season 3 Joy of Painting that we followed. I can't remember what it was called though. It'll be in the list where that link takes you. So yeah, this was the first one. And it didn't come out half bad. And then this was the last one that we just did. This was the second one. This one was a little bit trickier because he did it on a black canvas. So, yeah, so it was kind of like an ocean thing. It could have come out a little better, but it was our first time trying to needle felt waves and stuff, and the angle that it was at. So it was definitely a learning piece. But yeah, I mean, it didn't come out too terrible. But that's some of the stuff that we've done so far. And, you know, this isn't a slow thing to do, so you're not going to finish it in one go. So this is going to be a project that takes a little bit of time to get through. Or at least it does for me, because I'm mostly working on these on stream. Then I try to put together a speed felt video, like a speed paint, but a speed felt of the entire project in one go at the end. I've gotten one of those done. That is on the YouTube channel in the Nisey Paints playlist. Because we are a bit of a variety channel, so I kind of try to archive most of the live streams over there. And the YouTube channel is just NiseyBGN, same as it is here. I have one of those speed felts done. I am working on editing the last project that we did, but I hurt my arm, so I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to get that put together. I'm working on it, but I'm only about halfway through that at the moment. Because it does take a little bit of time to get through that and, you know, edit out all the sections where I go off on tangents and things, so I like to talk with my hands a lot, so I'm trying to cut out a lot of that. So after I finish up this corner with this color, like right into here, then I'm gonna go and grab our lighter brown, and then we'll start to fill in all of these yellow gaps and stuff, and give this a little bit more solidity to it, so it doesn't look like quite such a hot mess. There is in theory, there's a method to this madness at the moment. I'm still not sure if I've come down too far. I don't think I have. Because he's got like a river that kind of starts somewhere back in here. And he's got like some little tiny mini stair-step waterfalls. So that's kind of why this can be a little janky in here, because that's gonna get covered up. So the angles on this one are a little tough at the moment, and I don't honestly really think he needed all of this brown in here, but I guess, I don't know. I think he was just doing it to get some kind of like base coat color in, because when he comes back in with a green, and there's some spots where the green mixes with the brown and kind of looks like dead grass brown, or dead grass green, however you want to look at it. But it's really not visible. There's some sections where there is some darker brown that shows through for some rocky sections, but I mean, he adds that as straight Van Dyke brown with, I think, the knife, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, I watched this through a few days ago. Alright, so we need just a little bit more here. I think I'm just gonna snip this end off, because yeah, we did go through just about all of that shade there. Which, yeah, I forgot we still have, I mean, this is kind of water in here. I think he brings it down a little bit. There, we'll have to use the other bit of roving that was similar to this color when we get down to this section in here, but he kind of stops about halfway, not really halfway, a little more than a third down. So I'm just gonna quick kind of tap that in. Doesn't have to be fully anchored in that spot, but just enough. Again, this is something that I do. You don't have to do this. I'm just kind of flattening out the back, because as you're stabbing through, it's bringing the base fiber kind of scrunched in. So I find that if I do this, it kind of keeps the peaks and valleys in here a little bit flatter. It just makes it a little bit more easier to manage. Alright, let me stick this guy in his little bag. We did go through just about all of that color, but I think there might be another bag of that in the thing. Alright, give me 1 second. Let me grab the other shade. I don't have to go far. Alright. I moved where I was keeping my, I've got all kinds of cords stuck under my chair. I was moved where I was keeping my bags of fluff, and I forgot to grab this one before we got started, so alright, so this is the acrylic yarn that I fluffed, because I mean it kind of is dead grass green kind of looking in there, but I didn't really have a shade that I felt like really worked with that, so that's alright. We'll just use this shade. That's fine. Alright, so now we'll probably have this shade a little bit airy and a little bit separated. Just so we don't completely cover up all of that shade that we just kind of threw in here. And we're not done with these yet, okay? We have to come back and add the foliage to that, but he didn't do that yet, so right now I'm just trying to come back in with this color and fill in most of our yellow poking through. And I ended up with yellow just because that was the next color in my stack of felt that I had purchased. So there's no rhyme or reason for it, it just happened to be the color that was next. I think when I go through this set, if I end up buying another multi-pack, I'll probably pick up just like neutral shades like grays and browns and stuff. Alright, so just gonna kind of work this in here. Except we're gonna take our time a little bit more and get a little bit more of a solid cover over this. Get most of our larger gaps filled in. Now I'm working on a felt needle felting mat, and I greatly prefer this over foam. I think the traditional one is usually foam. The foam is very scritchy. I know scritchy doesn't sound like it's the best descriptor word that I can come up with. It's probably not even really a word. It's a Nisey word. It's in the Nisey dictionary. So it's very grating to my ears. Kind of like nails on a chalkboard for some people. It would be a much louder, sharper sound than what you're hearing right now. Right now, if it's even picking up from the microphone, because I realize the microphone's turned away. Like, to me, this sounds more like walking through gravel or snow crunching or something. It's gentler on my ears. I find that the other stuff is just very, like the foam, depending on the type of foam that you're using, like if you're using like straight up styrofoam, it's going to be very sharp, very painful after a while probably, and it's going to break down a lot faster using the foam, and you're going to have to replace it a little bit more. I've been using this pad for about since January, well, since the end of last December. And it's a little lumpy because, you know, we're stabbing fiber into it, and some of our fiber has become part of our mat. You can see the different colors in there. It's originally this color when it starts out with you, but it's not bad. It's definitely better for me. That's for certain. If you prefer the foam though, go for the foam, but this one has lasted quite a bit longer, and I haven't had to replace it as much, because yeah, the foam mats are going to break down after a while just from you stabbing it and compressing all of the little styrofoam bits together. Some people, I've heard, will buy sheets of foam insulation like you can buy for your walls for your house. I don't know what that's gonna sound like, but I still think that's gonna break down after a while if you're stabbing through it, and you'll probably still have to replace it. I mean, eventually I'll probably have to get a new felt mat here, but so far it's been working pretty good for me. Alright, so got this working in here. And it's kind of sort of melting in with the with that other shade on there. Kind of, sort of. Kind of gives it sort of like a sandy appearance to it. Just a little bit. Now I'm not gonna go super crazy trying to fill in every little gap like we did with the sky, because there's gonna be another whole thing happening down here with grass and rocks and stuff. So this is just our base coat, if you will, to work on filling this in. And I am using a small gauge needle. Some people use handles with multiple needles in them. My kit came with either the single needle handle, or it came with a multi-needle handle that had 8 needles in it. And it sounds like, you know, oh hey, let's use this one, it'll be faster. I don't know, that one kind of frustrated me a little bit for what I'm doing. It might work out better if you're doing like the critters and the little figurines and stuff. But for this, it just, I don't know, like, there wasn't a needle in the middle of the handle, so it was like just a circle, and I kept feeling like I was missing when I kept moving the needle around and or the handle around, and it was heavy. It was actually a lot heavier than I had expected it to be, because I mean this weighs like next to nothing, but with the 8 needles and the handle needing to be a little bit heftier to handle that, after a few stabbings, if you will, or needle felting passes, stabbing the needles through the base and all the fiber, my arm is getting really tired, so I was like, oh, I don't like this. I can actually do a lot more and go a lot longer with the single one. %. My arm does not get as tired. So I mean, we are covering a little bit of that brown up, but I can also kind of see it through. It's kind of making some slightly darker sections in there. So I think this idea might work out. Just reflattening that down. And it's sort of starting to paint a picture on the back. Like you can see the silhouettes of our tree shadows and stuff. Alright. Let's see, what time is it? Okay, we still have a little bit more time. Could you see if that needs some more water?
Mm-hmm.
If you wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Sorry, I've got dinner cooking in the background. Kinda, sorta. I got up late today, so I didn't have the chance to get it fully started.
It was probably fine, but I topped off just in case.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure how low it was. It's been a little bit since I checked on it. Alright. So just kinda keep doing this until we've got this covered to our satisfaction. So everybody's doing okay. I know Mondays can be kind of blech. And we've only just recently started streaming on Monday. We had to switch the stream schedule around. I don't stream on Tuesday because husband has D&D with a few of his friends, and they do that in the afternoon on Tuesdays. And our one friend is starting classes for fall semester, and their schedule kind of got jacked up a bit with work and stuff, so I try to make sure that they have a day that they can spend gaming and whatnot, because he has to be to bed by a certain time because he has an early morning class. So that's why we don't stream on Wednesday right now. And I was doing art only one day a week, but I got frustrated with one of the games that we were working on their campaign levels, so I was like, okay, let's just add in a second art day right now, and that will be so much better. Twitch, what are you doing? Twitch is being twitchy. Alright. It was buffering on my end for a second there. Don't know if that was my internet or not. It could have been. It likes to do that every so often on me. I'm like checking my OBS and making sure that I wasn't about to start dropping frames like mad crazy. Because we've had that happen before, out of the blue. And that's super frustrating, but I think when that happens, there seems to be a problem somewhere down the line. Like, everything else of mine will be fine. So I think it's wherever I'm being shepherded through starts to have a problem. Although we've been doing pretty good since we switched to this internet provider. Got tired of paying an exuberant amount of money for, you know, one of those deals where it's internet and and phone and TV, and they just keep jacking the price, and they're like, oh no, this is the lowest package that we have and that will suit you. And I'm like, really? Like, I'm not paying this. This is too much money. For the service we were getting, it was too much money. Like, I was constantly dropping, and it got to the point where latency was getting to be ridiculous, and the speeds just weren't there for the price. And our local provider ran the fiber optic cables through our front yard, finally. So we switched back to them. And it's still a good chunk of change for what we're doing, because we have to have a phone line with them for the package that we have. But that being said, their internet's a bit more reliable and heaps ton faster than what we were getting with the cable company. Heaps faster. Like, ridiculously faster. But that's probably because of the fiber, but because the cable company didn't have fiber in our area. I mean, we've got a little bit of yellow showing through in there, but I feel like that will probably get fixed. But then again, it's at the base of the tree, so I probably want to make sure that section's filled in, because I'm not 100% certain how high up the foliage is gonna go. Like, I don't know if it's coming down to here or not. I can't remember that part. So that's okay. We'll just cover our butts for now with that. And that's fine. Alright. Let's grab a bit more fluff. Okay. Now, I do have a bit... Sorry, we live on a very busy road through our town. It's not a very big town, but we live on, like, the main road that goes through the town. So, this house isn't exactly soundproof, so there's gonna be traffic noise at times, and I do apologize. Not much I can do about that. The insulation... The sound insulation on this house is a bit lacking, shall we say. Don't know if it's because it's an older house. It's hard for me to use that argument, though, because it says that the house... I've seen two different dates of when this house was built. 1921 and 1926. However, I'm not entirely convinced that this house, as it stands right now, was the entire original structure. I think it was added onto, so I don't know. I don't know. So, I've tried to find pictures of the property in its original state. Can't find any. In the searches that I've done, they might exist, they might not exist, but it was definitely not... Soundproofing was definitely not a factor when, whoever built this, whenever they built it. It probably wasn't that much of an issue then, because, this area used to be... Well, this town used to be a pretty good-sized farming community. So I doubt there was this much traffic when this property was built, and I don't even know what the road situation was when this place was built. This road might not have been here. It might have been, like, quite a bit of land here. Maybe it was a dirt road, I don't know. But, yeah, so we do have some traffic noise that's gonna seep in from time to time. But it shouldn't be too overpowering all of the time. If I streamed later at night, the traffic noise would be like non-existent, but I didn't really want to stream that late at night. Alright, we've actually made some pretty good progress today. Because when we first started, we only had this tree in, so we got all of our tree shadows in. Sounds like there's a cat trying to throw a hairball in the background now. We've got several cats, so, and 2 dogs, so there will be animal noises as well. We just have all sorts of menagerie of sounds here. That's just the way things are. Yeah, I mean, we got all of our tree shadowing in, and we got the ground shadowing in, and now we're just coming back and filling in around that. So I think we've made pretty good progress here today. So let's see, we've been going for almost 3 hours, so it's probably a good stopping point. Don't want to overdo it with my arm. Although doing this doesn't seem to be bothering it so much, so it's only when I start like using scissors and doing fine hand movements that starts to become a problem. But yeah, no, this was pretty good progress today. Pretty happy with where we're sitting. So next week, when we pick this back up on Sunday, we will be picking back up with putting in our color here, and yeah, I know we still have some yellow poking through, that's fine. It actually is kind of adding to the shading in here, I think, so that's kind of working out a little bit. But we'll continue adding in our coloring in here. Let me see, do I have any people? We could go see Stone. He is streaming WWE 2K22, so we will go see him. And I know that's not going to be a lot of people's cup of tea, that's fine. I do thank you all for stopping by. Thank you for the raid. I appreciate that. Hopefully I can get the flamingo noises figured out as to why they didn't go off. Hopefully we can have those sorted out for next time. And I hope to see you all later for Thursday's stream or for next week's art stream. So until next time, you guys have a good one.